In a world where the truth about UFOs and extraterrestrial life has long been shrouded in mystery and speculation, a former British soldier has come forward with a jaw-dropping revelation that could blow the lid off one of the most closely guarded secrets in human history. Hi folks, I'm Johnny and welcome to The Oddest. Frank Milburn's explosive claims about a top-secret team tasked with recovering non-human vehicles and their occupants have sent shockwaves through the UFO community and raised profound questions about what governments might actually be concealing from the public. As the world eagerly awaits official disclosure, Milburn's first-hand account from a trusted confidant paints a chilling picture of covert operations, interstellar encounters, and a reality far more extraordinary than most could ever imagine. For years, UFO enthusiasts have been buzzing about leaked documents and whistleblower accounts, all hinting at the possibility of UFO disclosure. But lately, there's been a slight change in tone from the Pentagon, sparking renewed interest among the general public. People are now wondering just how much truth those leaks hold. And, as we eagerly await any official announcements, more whistleblowers are stepping forward, claiming that governments have recovered crashed alien ships and hidden them away. While talk of UFO-related activities has long been a hot topic in the United States, the same can't quite be said for the UK, although it's not entirely unheard of. However, in early 2024, a former British soldier dropped a bombshell. He revealed that a fellow Special Forces operator had confided in him about a top-secret team tasked with recovering non-human vehicles. Their missions sometimes involved locating and securing the occupants of these mysterious crafts. So why come forward now? Well, he felt compelled to lend credence to similar claims emerging from the Pentagon hearings over in the US. It's easy to shrug off these assertions at first glance, but maybe it's time that we start taking them a bit more seriously upon closer inspection. According to an interview with the Daily Mail, Frank Milburn, a former member of the British Army's elite parachute regiment, spilled some jaw-dropping details. He said that a fellow veteran, whom he just referred to as John, had disclosed being part of a hush-hush recovery squad tasked with retrieving non-human crafts. Additionally, Milburn stated that he had conversations with the RAF, Royal Air Force personnel, who revealed chasing after a high-speed disc-shaped object and even firing at it. Milburn would go on to reveal some more interesting things, like this covert recovery unit is quietly overseen by MI6 and operates under the tightest security measures. Called the Increment behind closed doors, it's composed of hand-picked members from various branches of the British Special Forces, like the SAS, the SBS and the SRR. John's recruitment into this elite unit followed his service in the Falklands War back in 1982. Over the years, he undertook numerous high-risk missions worldwide, but it was an encounter in the north of England in the late 80s that left an indelible mark on him. As per John's recollection shared with Milburn, his team, comprising of around 20 to 30 Special Forces operators, received a cryptic order to stand by for deployment. All they knew was that the RAF had reported the downing of a craft that didn't belong to any known nation. It definitely wasn't Russian, British or American. Swiftly and quietly, John and his comrades were whisked to the site, where they were tasked with securing and retrieving this mysterious craft. Upon arrival, they set up a secure perimeter, giving them ample space to operate. With precautions in place, they cautiously approached this downed vessel. Though John didn't delve into the specifics about its appearance, he made it clear to Milburn that its non-human origin was absolutely undeniable. Adding to the intrigue, it seemed that the occupants had bolted from the scene. While some of the team focused on securing the craft for transport, others set out to track down the elusive beings on foot, in 4x4s and even on quad bikes. Whether they managed to apprehend these entities remains unclear. Shortly after securing the area, the scene was swiftly taken over by scientists and technicians, leaving John and his unit out of the loop. They were airlifted away and the mission for them was over and never to be spoke of again. Despite lacking tangible evidence to support his claims, John's credibility was vouched for by Frank Milburn. Their bond extended beyond military service, and Milburn had taken the extra step of verifying John's character with other SAS veterans, all of whom attested to his trustworthiness and sincerity. Milburn painted a picture of John as a no-nonsense individual who had seen the harsh realities of combat in the Falklands War. This wasn't someone prone to spinning tall tales. In fact, their friendship had deepened long before John chose to share his extraordinary account, which he admitted had been weighing heavily on him for quite some time. One night, John decided that he'd had enough of carrying this burden alone. He confided in Frank, explaining that he felt compelled to unburden himself, though he knew that he couldn't share much sensitive information with anyone outside the tight-knit circle of ex-Special Forces personnel. Milburn's own career path adds an intriguing layer to the narrative. After serving with British intelligence throughout much of the 90s, he ventured into roles with the United States Special Forces and later worked as a contractor over in Iraq. Currently, he's associated with an Israeli university think tank, the Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies. It's worth noting that during his tenure at the think tank, Milburn has penned several papers delving into the topic of UFO disclosure. Given his professional background and the potential risk to his reputation, one might argue that there's more substance to his claims than skeptics would have you believe. However, it's essential to acknowledge the military's stance on the matter. Milburn's former employers vehemently deny the existence of any such program. In all fairness to Frank, of course they would. In an official statement, they categorically stated their lack of any awareness regarding any salvage operations involving materials of unexplained origins. Milburn further recounted another intriguing incident that he stumbled upon during his stint in the armed forces, particularly during his intelligence work in the 1990s. So, according to him, he came across a report involving 2 pilots and 2 navigators from separate jets who were instructed to pursue an unusual object and engage with live gunfire. As per Milburn's account, the pilots revealed that upon nearing this object with a mere 20 nautical miles, they received orders to shoot them down. Equipped with radar homing missiles, they attempted to lock onto the target and fire, but to their astonishment, the missiles proved ineffective. Despite repeated attempts, these projectiles failed to make any contact with the crafts, as if it were impervious to their attacks. Adding to the intrigue, the pilots shared with Milburn that despite visually spotting the craft with their own eyes, it initially didn't register on their radar equipment. Even more baffling, as they closed in on the craft, their radar finally detected this mysterious object, only to vanish from ground control radar simultaneously. Was this a deliberate act of concealment orchestrated by the intelligence behind the mystery craft, or was it all just a coincidence? In the blink of an eye, the object vanished, as Milburn puts it, skipping off at hypersonic velocity far beyond the capabilities of our jets. When Milburn pressed the pilots about their thoughts on this object's origin, they unequivocally said that it was like nothing in the possession of any nation on Earth, including the US, Russia, or their allies. Milburn emphasised that these pilots were seasoned veterans, having served in the First Gulf War and completed numerous missions over Iraq in the subsequent years. They were no strangers to intercepting aircraft, making their accounts all that more compelling. As far-fetched as Milburn's assertions may sound, similar accounts have circulated for years among various researchers and investigators. Interestingly, these claims suggest that the programme in question traces back to the Reagan-Thatcher era of the 1980s. Some even speculate that initiatives like the Star Wars project served as a smokescreen, masking the true nature of elite joint operations that were clandestinely underway. Echoing Milburn's narratives, reports indicate that these recovery teams operated on a hair-trigger basis, often receiving sudden orders to deploy upon reports of a foreign craft crash landing. What's intriguing is that anonymous whistleblowers have divulged that these units sometimes received advanced notification of incoming craft, essentially foreknowledge of a UFO either on the verge of crash landing or facing imminent interception. In such instances, they were often on site before the event even happened, bearing witness to the impact of these otherworldly crafts. One can't help but wonder if these purported programs persisted beyond the Reagan-Thatcher era, potentially enduring under subsequent American presidents and British prime ministers. It's not hard to imagine then that once intertwined with national security interests, such initiatives would continue regardless of changes in leadership. Adding weight to these assertions are accounts from former American pilots who have come forward with similar tales of involvement in retrieval missions. Their corroborating testimonies lend further credence to the claims like Milburn's, painting a picture of a clandestine world operating in the shadows of official government narratives. According to an online article from November of 2023, 3 separate sources shed light on a covert world of crashed UFO retrievals coordinated by a shadowy CIA office. These insiders claimed that such missions had been ongoing globally for decades, overseen by the Office of Global Access, which is a branch of the CIA since 2003. Shockingly, they allege the retrieval of at least 9 non-human craft, with 2 reportedly found completely intact. These revelations are just the tip of the iceberg, as numerous similar claims have emerged in recent months, spanning not only the US and the UK but also across in Mexico, various South American countries and South Africa. If these assertions hold any truth, they suggest a clandestine international collaboration stretching back decades, and likely still definitely going on today. Considering all this, any potential disclosure that many anticipate may well be carefully orchestrated to lightly control the flow of information. If even a fraction of these claims hold any truth, then it begs the question, where are these mysterious crafts now? And perhaps more significantly, what became of their occupants? And what drove them here in the first place? These are just some of the many pressing inquiries that would arise if any credence is given to these admittedly extraordinary accounts. Could there indeed be a coordinated effort among multiple nations, not only to suppress knowledge about UFOs, but also to conceal details about potentially extraterrestrial craft in human possession? And what motives underpin these retrieval missions? Are they solely aimed at reverse engineering these vehicles to harness their technology for our own purposes? And if that's the case, then are these weapons intended for use against terrestrial adversaries or directed at a force originating from outside our planet? The implications of these questions are staggering and, if substantiated, would radically reshape our understanding of our place in the cosmos. Could it be that official contact with extraterrestrial beings has already occurred, shrouded in secrecy? Is it plausible then that deep beneath the Earth's surface lie top secret bases in the US and in the UK, housing not only recovered alien craft, but also extraterrestrial visitors themselves? And could these otherworldly entities be collaborating with human scientists, their motives veiled in mystery? Speculations abound, with whispers of alien battles unfolding in underground facilities like Dulce. Such notions may sound like the stuff of science fiction, but perhaps there's more truth to these claims than even some within UFO circles dare to entertain. If it's substantiated, these revelations would revolutionise our understanding of human-alien interaction and the extent of our involvement in the cosmic tapestry. Whether Frank Milburn's accounts hold water or not remain to be seen. However, the idea of a covert team tasked with retrieving crashed alien craft isn't as far-fetched as it might seem at first glance. If these UFOs are indeed of non-human origin, then it stands to reason that the military would want to secure them for a myriad of reasons, including public safety concerns alongside the potential for technological advancement through reverse engineering. It's then logical to assume that Allied governments would collaborate closely on such clandestine endeavours, particularly during the tense era of the Cold War, when this alleged international elite unit purportedly came into play. The prospect of advanced technology falling into the wrong hands adds an additional layer of complexity to the debate. Okay, so listen, I definitely need a wee cup of tea here. So what's your thoughts on all of this? I feel like I could go on about this for another video or another few videos, or maybe a live stream to discuss this with people. I don't know. There's a lot more to it than we know. It's crazy. Anyway, take care of yourselves out there, folks, alright? Tell someone that you love them. And remember, no matter what, keep smiling.